Morning, everybody. This is Cynthia from Junk Journal Art Company. Just doing a little craft with me video. I was really having some trouble with my camera. So anyway, this Dephemerember video is going to have a voiceover, so I hope it works out. So the third prompt on the Dephemerember list was seed packets and woodland creatures. What I found was that I didn't have any woodland creatures, but I did have these little flower fairies that I got from AliExpress. And that gave me the idea to actually utilize some of the supplies that I'd gotten from AliExpress that I hadn't really done anything with yet. So the little flower fairy cards that you just saw me with, and then there's this little packet of botanical vellum pictures that show up really nicely when they're applied to light-colored cardstock, light-colored substrate. Then there were these really cool sort of floral stickers, and I love the graphics on them, but the stickers are kind of shiny, so I've never really warmed up to them, but I thought I'm going to use them this time. Also, something I got out for the first time to use was this vintage DYMO, is it DYMO label maker? I found it at a local thrift store. Really loved it. It had all the instructions, the original carrying case. It had 3 different font wheels. The regular one that does vertical writing, and then also the one that I've got in there is cursive letters. It also came with a really nice number of extra reels of different colors of tape. It uses both 3/16, I believe, and 1/4 inch tapes. So yeah, I'm going to actually use this also in this project. So this is what we're going to be making. This is the first one I made, using all of those things, also adding in some paper flowers, some little brads, my distress ink. I made the actual pocket out of an old book page. So here I am again showing you, my camera was giving me problems, so there may be some places where there's a little bit of crossover where I kind of forgot that, I already showed you these. But this again is just another shot of those little flower fairy cards. They're tiny, they're really sweet. And actually the second time that I was going through them, I actually kind of changed my mind about what flower fairy I wanted to use on the next one. I had this little boy fairy looking up at like a dahlia, but then I found this this little girl with a yellow daisy, probably like a calendula or something, but it really matched the vellum piece that I found. Had sort of the same kind of flower on it. So yeah, I opted to go with the little girl, and yeah, I thought it was really sweet. So the little boy with the dahlia is just going to have to wait. So here I'm just trying to put together the elements to see what layout will be most pleasing, and I think this was that was the one that I settled on. Now in this video there are an awful lot of pauses and breaks. Like I said, I was really having trouble. I'm doing a voiceover because my audio didn't come out right, and the camera kept stopping. So 2022 is going to be the year of some new equipment, because mine is obviously outdated and wants to be retired and like move to Florida or Arizona or someplace. So here you see I'm just distressing the edges of all of those with my archival ink. I really love the archival ink. And this particular, all of this ephemera I'm making, I'm thinking of putting all in the same journal, and I'm distressing everything with the fern green. So it'll all sort of tie together. I'll be a nature theme and be tied together with this. I like calling it mossy. It's a mossy fern green. All right, so I'm using a book page, using book pages to make the seed packets. I'm kind of making them in the shape of a seed packet, even though, and basically the shape of the seed packet is what needs to fit whatever the graphics are. So here's some nice blush cardstock that I'm using. I'm going to lay these two items out and glue them down. I find that the permanent glue stick works really nicely, especially on the vellum, because you don't see the glue lines, and then it sort of brings out, as you can see just as I'm putting it on there, it sort of brings out the colors of the graphic on there. And then you lay it down and you can just see how those colors just kind of pop. So that's really nice. I love that. Always sort of smooth things out with my bone folder just to make sure that the glue really adheres to the substrate. And then I'll be gluing the little, one corner. Missed that corner, I guess. It's kind of interesting doing a voiceover the first time you sort of watch your video work here. So there'll probably be a lot of pauses in here, and maybe other times when I feel like I'm trying to catch up. So, all right, a little more of the glue stick on my little flower fairy. And this is a craft with me, so actually I think the timing of everything in this video is such that you could just sort of follow along with me if you wanted to. So you will notice, I don't think I showed, but those both of those pieces, the vellum and the little flower fairy card, I did use my corner punch and take the corners off of there. Now I'm going to trim these down just a little bit. I like to leave about 1/8 of an inch. I think 1/8 of an inch is kind of a pleasing size of, I guess margin is the word I'm looking for. So I take it down to about 1/8 of an inch. On the outside corners, I'm able to use the corner punch to take those corners off again. But on the inside corners, I did have to cut those freehand, because you can't get in there with the corner punch. I mean, at least not the corner punch I have. Maybe you guys have some handy dandy one that you can get into some of those inside corners, but mine you certainly can't. So just trimming this down, and then I'm going to round those corners. As you can see, the corner punch works great there. It will not work on the other ones. Sort of skipped my effort trying to get those inside corners. It was a little bit hilarious. I'm like, Cindy, this is not going to work. Stop it. So, alrighty. So I hand cut those with I love these scissors, you guys. I know I've said it before, but these are my Dollar Tree scissors, and they work like a charm. Get them in the Crafter Square section, and I've probably got, I don't know, a half a dozen pairs that just sort of hang around in my studio. They really are nice. Yeah, I can't say anything more about them. I mean, you could pay a lot of money for scissors that cut just as well. I think they're really nice little detail scissors. They don't have a pointy tip, but I don't do a lot of fussy cutting. So they work great for me. I don't need to, get into a lot of little tight spaces with them. Now I'm just distressing the outside of that sort of cardstock substrate that I put my fairy card and my vellum on. And now we're going to get on to making the seed packet out of book pages. And these book pages came from an old Francis Bacon biography. Yeah, so there we go. I fold it in half, and it just happens to work because these pages are a particular size that work great for this project. You may find that you need larger or smaller or whatever. So I'm right now just deciding on the placement of everything, how high, how low, where it needs to sort of fit on the page. I use a pencil just to mark where the very edge of the pocket itself is going to be. That just gives me a guide so that when I get out my scoring board, I can score it at the right spot. So here comes my We Are Memory Makers little scoreboard. Using my bone folder there, just to score that line. Get it lined up good. Wasn't quite sure I had the right spot. Here we are. Gonna score both of those sides. And then I'm going to cut it down so that there's about 1/2 inch on the outside of those score lines. And you'll see why I'm doing that as we go on here. So taking off about so that there's about 1/2 inch on the outside of the score lines. And then I am going to trim the corners down at the bottom. Yeah, it's hard to see here. I realize I was a little bit out of camera. So yeah, we'll trim those corners off. And then, because I want the flap of the seed packet to stick out above, I'm going to take off another about 1/2 inch or so off the top, but I sort of liked that chapter heading that was up there, so I decided to keep that. So now I'm going to take off the flaps that are on the back of my seed packet. I'm going to cut those flaps off. There we go. Cutting those off. Next, I am going to, I believe that I round the corners. So you see here. Okay, so now you fold it back up. Guess I'm not rounding the corners yet. And you fold those flaps in. And when you turn it over, that's sort of your seed packet. I still need to round those upper corners. That's probably what I'm going to do now. There we go. And I'm not planning on folding the flap down over the top. I just really was going for the shape of the seed packet. And there we are. Just a little homemade seed packet. We will we'll just rest the edges of that with my archival inks. Like I said, the tempo of this is great. If you want to do a craft with me, it's awesome because you are actually just sort of making it along with me. All right, there it is. Now I'm going to glue down my tabs using my Scotch permanent glue stick. That holds just fine. And then I do believe the next step for me is making sure that I know exactly where I want to glue that little cardstock thing down on the front. And I get out my art glitter glue. I do like, this is a great wet glue for paper. It dries pretty quickly. And it's not cheap, you guys. But hey, use it or lose it, man. What I found is sometimes I buy some kind of craft supply that's a little more pricey than what I would otherwise get, and what I find then is that I don't use it, and then it goes bad. So you know what? If you're going to spend a lot of money on craft supplies, use those suckers because you can always get more. So I'd rather get more because I used up what I had than have to get more because I didn't use it at all and then it went to waste. So I'm just checking the size. I do notice now I've got like this one little leaf that's hanging out of the end. So I trimmed that off pretty carefully because I'm going to actually put that on in a different spot. Now these stickers, if you do get any of these from AliExpress, they are harder than heck. I did a big cut here because it really is hard to get that backing off. You probably would have been sitting there for like 2 minutes watching me try to get that backing off. So just to warn you, they're not incredibly user-friendly. They're a little shinier than I like, but you know, they're cute. I do really like them. Despite the shininess, I think I would possibly order more. I do have some butterflies. I've got some like fern fronds. So yeah, I like them. Here again, I did another big cut because I was just trying to get the backing off that one little leaf. I'm just going to stick that leaf up at the top there, and I think it fits fine. It fits just fine. So there we are. Those components are all stuck down nice and secure. Next thing I'm going to do is work on my little paper flower. I'm going to get out my adhesive backed paper. I think it's the Tattered and Worn from Hobby Lobby. I was trying different papers that I knew were sort of in the right color family, but they didn't quite have the contrast that I wanted. This brown I thought was perfect. So I'm using my little flower punch. Again, I think that's a Hobby Lobby flower punch. Just need to distress the edges of that a little bit just to take that white core off of there. And then I like to put just a dot in the center because sometimes I have a hard time finding the center when I'm using my crocodile. So here's my crocodile tool, and we're going to cut out that little hole. I still didn't do a great job finding center on that, but it's fine. So, like I said, I don't mind imperfections. I love it that it looks handcrafted. I mean, I think that's why we make things is, you know, if it looked perfect, then what would be the fun of that, right? So, taking my little adhesive backing off, sticking that down right in the center of that paper flower. It does help that the paper flowers do already have a hole in the middle of them, so you can kind of figure out where that center is. Putting my brad through, and I like to open my brads and then glue those embellishments on, because if I had put that through the paper first, then those brad ends would be inside the pocket. And what happens then is that then when you try to put something into that pocket, those little brad ends can catch it and tear it. So either you can't get the thing in that you want to get into the pocket, or then you ruin what you've put in the pocket because of those pointy ends back there. So I love how brads look. And I just use them on the outside, and then I glued everything down with my art glitter glue. Now what I'm going to do with this is I decided that because the book pages are kind of old and brittle, I thought, well, maybe I'll mount this on that same blush colored cardstock. So I'm mounting it on the cardstock, and then I can use it. I can use that element pretty much anywhere. I could glue it flat down on a page, and then it's nice and sturdy. I could just glue it down in the corner and make a corner tuck spot with that, so it'd have a pocket inside the seed packet, and then you could also put something behind it, use it as a corner tuck spot. So I can do more with it, I think. And also on the back, if I just want it to be sort of, I could just do an altered paper clip, and I could just clip it in there with something kind of fun. And then on the back, it could also be journaling space, because now it's going to have sort of a wide open area on the back. So yeah, so I just chopped that down. It's about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm going to clip those corners with my corner punch. There we go. And then I will distress that all the way around, front and back, all the way around my cardstock substrate there. There we go. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. I really would love it if you would like, comment. Please subscribe to my channel. Every comment helps. And yeah, I really in 2022 want to spend a lot more time. I want to be a little more dedicated to my YouTube channel and to sharing things with you guys, making a lot more art. That was something that you would think that during the pandemic it'd be like, oh, I'm stuck at home, so I'm going to do all this stuff. And I didn't. And yeah, it was, in some ways, I kind of look back on it as a kind of wasted time. I had a huge opportunity there, and I kind of squandered it a little bit. So yeah, so this year I would really like to get going on more stuff. So I'm going to distress this with my glitter, my sparkle spray, kind of homemade sparkle spray Failure. But I really do like this spray as a distressing tool. So you do see a little bit of sparkle when you hold things up to the light and kind of move it around. Not as much as I wanted when I made it, but I love how the splatters go across and add just a little bit more dimension to the card. I'm going to do some on the back, but here you see that there's a nice big open area that you can journal on if you want to. So there we are, drying that off, and then I will show you that one. There you go. See, there you go. You can tuck something down in there. See, I proved it. So, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about this. We're going to make a label with my DYMO label maker, and I decided to use the word bloom for this one, and it is kind of cute. I've always loved these label makers, even when I was a kid. You know, I think we had one in our house, and I just sort of used it for everything. Now, I thought at first that I would want to have like bloom and then, 3 periods behind it, because I don't know, like it was the beginning of some, great philosophical saying. What I ended up doing, though, is I did end up trimming all of the dots off, so that what I ended up with was just the word bloom. I did do a big cut here because I was doing some messing around, but there we go. I just ended up with simply the word bloom, decided to put it down there in that little corner. Yeah, you take the backing off, and it sticks right on there. Just like that. I thought it was just a nice little finishing touch on my woodland fairy and seed packet project. So, and here we are. There's the other one. So thanks, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you back here again soon. Whatever you do, have a great new year, and be safe tonight, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.